Hello! Welcome to Lesson 5. This lesson can be a fun lesson if you're interested in marijuana use and abuse. Somewhat lengthy though. So some of the material I have presented to you, I certainly recommend you taking time to look at if you do, but specifically two items that I'm not making mandatory, somewhat optional. I do ask you to skim these two long pieces of material I will talk about in a few minutes. So there's some stuff we have to read, some stuff that we don't have to read. Again, this topic is on cannabis abuse and misuse, dependence in the adolescent population. So I wanted to expand that to include some historical stuff, viewing society's view, that type of thing. The lesson itself, again, pretty long. I wanted to talk about, or do want to talk about, the DSM-4 perspective on cannabis use. And if you've never had a chance to look at the DSM-4, I've actually scanned and included a copy of the pages that talk about cannabis misuse and abuse and history, intoxication. Yes, you can be intoxicated, of course, in terms of intoxication when you're talking to a diagnostic professional. I wanted to talk about some of the effects of cannabis on the user and the history of cannabis in the big picture. So the first part with the DSM-4 diagnostic material, I've actually scanned those pages, and you will find those pages in the handout box to the right of the screen in the green panel. Also included several fact sheets from the National Institute on Drug Abuse, on marijuana, on patterns of use, the effects of cannabis, and a narrative on cannabis use and driving in Canada. We really don't have a lot of research in the United States on the topic of marijuana use, cannabis use, and how that intoxicates the driver. So there's a lot of research studies out there that is somewhat contradictory. Is it dangerous? Is it not? And I'm actually sharing with you three really interesting videos from Great Britain that where a very large study was completed with individuals who smoke marijuana before driving on a controlled closed course. Those who thought they were smoking marijuana but really was not, and those that could smoke as much as they wanted to and drive. And each particular population was compared to the other in terms of how their driving ability was impacted. So that the videos are worth watching. I've been using these videos for years, and the outcome may be a little bit surprising, but I'll just kind of tease you with the outcome, so you will watch the videos themselves. So there are three videos listed there. Plus I included another video from the BBC that's called Stone Driving, where the BBC take a different approach and actually put folks who were under the influence in cars. And you may want to certainly view that video as well. It's quite interesting. Some of the other items, I've included a really long video. It's over an hour and 45 minutes from the History Channel. It was a series called The Marijuana, A Chronic History. I don't expect you to watch the entire video unless you really want to. If you want to, please do. It's certainly worth viewing. Or you might be able to find it on Netflix, or watch it on YouTube, of course, via your computer, or even download it offline. But it gives us a really good historical view of marijuana use, especially in the United States, and the modern business of marijuana use and selling marijuana, especially in California, where medical marijuana is legal, and some of the pros and cons of that. Because if you work with kids, one of the most common conversations I've ever had with kids is, well, it's legal in California, it must not be that bad, or I'll just move to California and use, or the list just goes on and on and on, rationalizations and justifications. So this video, although it's really long, watch what you can of it, at least 20 minutes. And you can start the video anywhere you want. But the beginning of the video has some pretty good information in it. Asking folks to read, of course, out of the textbook. The chapter on marijuana use is not as long as last week. We will not be reading from the tip this week. We will resume tip reading in the next lesson. Please take a chance to, I have 2 handouts in the handouts box to the right. Again, the DSM-4 cannabis scans, asking you to read those. It's just a couple of pages. Then there's a very long article called The History of Cannabis that actually goes back hundreds of years into the 1500s and talks about how marijuana and before then the active drug cannabis is the active drug inside of the marijuana plant, how that was used historically for the past 500 years. And again, this is one of those assignments or items that you don't have to read the entire thing, but you may want to scan the article and pull out things that you thought was most interesting. And we will have 2 discussion board postings for this lesson as well. Next, of course, the due date for this assignment is posted under assignments. And if you have questions, please let me know. Thank you. Take care.